Hello, third graders. This is a lesson for Math Expressions 2018 edition, Unit 4, Lesson 10. In this unit, or in this big idea of this unit, we have been exploring time and how to do different things with time. So, specifically, we are going to be looking at some situations that are based on real life examples and how to solve these problems using a number line. And today we are going to be adding time. So, for students that are in my class, we know that we usually have to show a deal. And what I mean by a deal is that's an acronym for annotating, a math drawing, an equation, an answer, and a label. Well, in these problems, we aren't going to be including an equation. We are going to have to still annotate our problem for the important numbers, making sure we understand the question. Our math drawing is going to be more often in this section using that number line and making sure that we have found our correct answer and we have labeled it properly is a very important part. So we're going to keep everything except for the equation in what we do. Number one, and we're going to solve this using a number line. It says Keisha went into a park at 1:30 p.m. She hiked for 1 hour 35 minutes. Then she went to the picnic area for 45 minutes and left the park. What time did Keisha leave the park? Well, I'm going to zoom in to be able to annotate a little bit easier on this computer screen. I should probably change my stroke thickness, and I think I want to use red. Okay, so she went into the park at 1:30 p.m. You can see right here that they have already identified our starting point. So if she hiked for 1 hour 35 minutes, we're going to use this number line. And we did this a little bit yesterday on our own. So it should have gotten you familiar with the idea. So if I jump forward 1 hour from 1:30, an hour later is going to be all the way over here to 2:30. So that's our 1 hour that we've gone. Now we've got to go 35 minutes because, well, it says that's how long she hiked. So I am going to skip ahead another 30 minutes. So I've got 30 minutes, and then I need to do 5 more. I should double check to make sure these little tick marks are 5. So 2:30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55, 3 o'clock. Yep, those little tick marks are definitely 5-minute intervals, just like on our analog clock. And so I'm going to do that, 5 minutes. All right, we're not done. It says then she went to the picnic area for 45 minutes and then left the park. Well, we started at 1:30. She hiked for 1 hour 35 minutes. Now we need to use our number line to see forward movement of 45 minutes. I'm going to use a different color. So 45 minutes. I'm going to skip count by fives just to keep it simple because I don't know if I would be able to do that 15-minute jump since we're not exactly at 3 o'clock. It's right now 3:05. So here I go. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45. Okay. What time did Keisha leave the park? All right. Well, if I had to look at this, and I'm going to go underneath now to here, we know that this is 3:30 right here, 3:35, 3:40, 3:45. So right here is 3:50. I'll get better at this sooner or later. 3:50. So according to this number line and all the forward movement that I did, What time did Keisha leave the park? Keisha left the park at 3:50 p.m. And that's important. p.m. That's our label. All right. Let's move on. I've annotated. I've got my math drawing on my number line. I don't need an equation on these problems. I've found my answer and I've labeled it. I'm good. Oh, look. Here we go. Number 2. Lauren arrived at the Children's Museum at 1:15 p.m. First, he spent 30 minutes looking at the dinosaur exhibit. I think I'm going to annotate as I go. He spent 30 minutes looking at the dinosaur exhibit. Next, he watched a movie for 20 minutes. Then, he spent 15 minutes in the museum gift shop. What time did Lauren leave the museum? And there's a second question. How long was he in the museum? Not at the museum, in the museum here. Well, let's start our time together here at 1:15. So here's 1 o'clock, 5:10. Here is 1:15. So that's my starting point. Pause the video. See if you can use the number line to see how much time has elapsed. Remember that he spent 30 minutes looking at the dinosaur exhibit. He watched a movie for 20 minutes, and then he was in the gift shop for 15 minutes. Once you feel that you have done the proper elapsed time, come back and hit play. Okay, welcome back. Hopefully you have some annotations on your number line. I am going to do this with you. So he spent 30 minutes. I know that right now the time is 1:15. And they didn't say PM on the number line, but I know from the problem up here that we are dealing with PM. So I just made myself a little note over there. You might not need to do that. So if I'm going to go forward 30 minutes, I have a couple of different options. I can skip count by 15s. I can skip count by 30 if I feel like I can do it with with accuracy, or I can skip count by 5s. I'm not feeling real confident with using my number line yet, so I'm going to skip count by 5s 30 minutes. Are you ready? 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. And so I'm going to put my annotation up here. That's 30 minutes. And for the sake of our computer screen, I am going to switch colors. Now he watched a movie for 20. And again, I'm going to skip count by 5. 5, 10, 15, 20. Okay. So 20 minutes. And now we're in the gift shop. Let's use blue. 15 minutes in the gift shop. 5, 10, 15. So the first question that they're asking us is, what time did Lauren leave the museum? Well, let's take a look at how we can do that. Now I'm going to go back and I'm going to use 2 o'clock as a reference time. And underneath, I'm just going to skip count by 5s till I match up with where my blue line stops up on top. So 2, 5, 10, 15, 20. So the time that I've come up with is 2:20 p.m. Is that what you came up with? If not, you might want to go back and look closely at your number line. So I'm going to put my first answer down here. What time did Lauren leave the museum? Lauren left the museum at 2:20 p.m. That's our first answer there. The next question was, how long was he in the museum? And we're going to find that by looking at our elapsed time up here. And combining our elapsed time. This is a put together question. So I'm going to add my problems together. So how much is 30 minutes combined with 20 minutes combined with 15 minutes? This isn't a put together problem, so this is addition. And I've got 65 minutes. Well, we want to make sure that we are answering that in terms of hours and minutes. So I know that there are 60 minutes in an hour, which would leave me with 5 minutes left over. And I'm going to switch my color for my text. How long was he in the museum? Lauren was in the museum for 1 hour and 5 minutes. Do you agree with my answers? If you did not get the same answer, reach out to your teacher, talk about it with them, work through it with them. Don't just move on. Asking questions about your mistakes is the most important thing that you can do right now while you learn. Okay, third graders, let's move on to number 3. Now we're talking about our friend Caleb. Caleb started working in the yard at 8:45 a.m. He raked for 1 hour, 45 minutes, and mowed for 45 minutes. Then he went inside. What time did he go inside? All right, that's one question. And how long did he work in the yard? So just like our last problem, we've got 2 things that we're going to evaluate. All right, so where's our start point here? 8:45. So let's see here. I've got 8:30, 8:35, 8:40, 8:45 right there. So I'm going to just draw an arrow here to show you where 8:45 is. Sooner or later, I'll get really good at writing on this screen. In the meantime, thank you for your patience. Okay, how much time has gone by? Well, let's do our elapsed time. He raked for 1 hour, 45 minutes. Well, if that's 8:45, and there's 1, 2, it's 1, 2, 3 tick marks in. I can do 1, 2, 3 tick marks in after 9 o'clock to show 1 hour passed. So there's our 1 hour. And now we need to go forward 45 minutes. So I am not real confident yet, and I don't know if you are or not, but we have some options on how we can use this number line. How you use the number line is really going to depend on how well you understand how to use these tick marks. Each of these small tick marks here are 5 minutes in value. In between the 9 and 9:30, well, there's 30 minutes. I don't feel real confident about jumping forward 45 minutes. So I'm going to do by 5s, and I'm going to skip count. And yes, even if I wasn't making this video, I would be talking to myself. So here's what I would do in real life, even if no one was looking. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45. And so that was my elapsed time of 45 minutes. So there's 1 hour, 45 minutes. After he raked, it's now 10 o'clock. But we're not done yet, because now he's going to mow the lawn. And he mowed the lawn for 45 minutes. Well, I'm going to do the same thing that I just did. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45. There's another 45 minutes. Then he went inside. All right, I'm done with my elapsed time. What time did he go inside? Well, what time is it right here? I'm going to go underneath and I'm going to use 10:30 as my landmark number, and I'm going to move forward till I get to this blue line here to figure out what time it is. 10:30, 10:35, 10:40, 10:45. Well, according to what I have found, he went inside at 10:45. And I don't know about my label. Let me look back up here. Yup, AM. He's doing this in the morning. So I'm going to answer my first question on the line here. What time did he go inside? He went inside at 10:45 a.m. The next question is asking us, how long did he work in the yard? So we're looking at this elapsed time here. How much time went by? Now you've got a few different options to do this, but I really don't want to add them all together because this is represented in hours and this is represented in minutes. So I am going to combine the minutes first. So I know that I've got the 1 hour, but I also have two different times of 45 minutes. Let's do that. So 45 plus 45 is 90 minutes. Do you know what the value of 90 minutes is in terms of hours in minutes? Well, I know there are 60 minutes in an hour. So if I split this apart into 60 and something else, I know that it would be 30 left over. And so this is going to be converted into another hour. So now I've got 1 hour, 2 hours, and 30 minutes. How long did he work in the yard? He worked in the yard for 2 hours and 30 minutes. Do you agree with my answers? There's more than one way to find an answer. This is just using strategies that we have talked about in my class. I've annotated. I've got my math drawing. I don't need an equation here. I've got both of my answers and both of them are labeled. I feel good about my work. If you didn't get the same answer, ask questions of your teacher. Now we're going to be using the same strategy of a number line, but this time we're going to subtract time. We're not going to be adding time, we're going to be subtracting time, going backwards, looking backwards. So we're using our number line just like we did before. And number 4, we have Hank. Hank finished bowling at 7:15 p.m. He bowled for 2 hours, 35 minutes. What time did he start bowling? Okay, so let's go ahead and find 7:15. Now, I remember that in between each of these larger tick marks, these smaller number tick marks here are valued at 5. So I know that 3 groups of 5 is 15. So this right here is where 7:15 is. Now I'm going to go backwards. I think I'm going to switch colors. Yellow isn't showing up so hot for me. He bowled for 2 hours, 35 minutes. Well, I'm going to go backwards 2 hours. So there's 6:15. Oh no, not 6:15, 6:45. Oh, I made a mistake. Do you guys see what I did here? I only went back to 6:45. That's definitely not what I want to do. I want to go back a whole hour. So a whole hour would make it 6:15 right here. So there's 1 hour. And go back to 5:15, which is right here. And 2 hours. And so I want to annotate 1 hour, 1 hour. Now we want to do 35 minutes. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35. And I'm going to put 35 minutes up here on top. What time did he start bowling? Well, I'm going to use 4:30 as my landmark number. 4:30, 4:35, 4:40. And my label is PM. So to answer your question, to answer this question here, at what time did he start bowling? He started bowling at 4:40 p.m. Now I'm restating the question in my answers here just to reinforce the idea on how to actually give a well thought out full sentence answer. Some teachers might feel comfortable with just 4:40 p.m. And depending on the directions, you may be right. But if they want a full sentence, that's example of a full sentence. Number 5. The school music program ended at 8:35 p.m. It lasted for 1 hour, 50 minutes. What time did the program start? Don't forget, third graders, that you can pause this video at any time, and I would encourage you to, at this point, pause and try to solve this problem on your own. Hit play and come back to compare your answer with my answer once you're ready. So the school music program ended at 8:35 p.m. I have to find where 8:35 p.m. is. And I would say that 8:35 p.m. is right here. And so I know that it lasted for 1 hour, 50 minutes. I'm going to do the minutes first this time. It doesn't mean it's the only way to do it. I'm just going to do it first this time. And so 50 minutes, I'm going to just skip count to 50 by fives. Again, this is the strategy I feel comfortable with right now. If you feel comfortable skip counting by 30 and then 20, you are welcome to do that. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50. So there's 50 minutes that's gone by. And I'm going to go back another hour. Well, I know that it's 1, 2, 3 ticks in here, right there. Let me do that again. There. 3 ticks in here, so that's probably 7:45. Yep, it's definitely 7:45, which means an hour earlier than that is going to be 6:45. So I'm going to use my number line and jump all the way back here. Another hour. And because that's 3 ticks in, and I'm using 6:30 as a starting point to know 6:30, 6:35, 6:40, and that's 6:45. What time did the program start? The program started at 6:45 p.m. And I definitely had to pause and look to make sure that my label was correct. AM and PM is important to pay attention to. Okay, third graders. Last one before your check for understanding. Leah served the salad at 3:15 p.m. It cooled in the refrigerator for 35 minutes. She spent 15 minutes gathering the ingredients from the garden and 15 minutes chopping the vegetables. What time did Leah start working on the salad? Again, we're talking about time. Well, I'm going to guess that our label is going to be PM from what we're looking at right there. And looking at my number line, it doesn't go to the morning time, so I'm going to take that leap of faith right there. I believe that our label is going to be PM. So if we're starting at the end, Leah served the salad at 3:15. I think, I'm going to zoom in, that on my number line, that starting point is going to be right here. That's where Leah started. And so let's work backwards. It cooled in the refrigerator for 35 minutes. Well, I feel comfortable jumping back 30 minutes and then 5 more. So there's my 35 minutes that it was cooling in the refrigerator. And before that, she spent 15 minutes gathering the ingredients from the garden. Well, I feel comfortable jumping 3 tick marks because I know 3 groups of 5 is 15. So there's our 15 minutes that she was gathering the ingredients from the garden. And then there was 15 minutes chopping these delicious fresh garden vegetables, which is another group of 3. So I feel good about that. 15 minutes. What time did Lisa start working on the salad? Well, what time is it right here? 2, 2:05, 2:10. So 2:10 is what I came up with. Do you agree with my answer? What time did Leah start working on the salad? Leah started working on the salad at 2:10 p.m. And my hypothesis was correct about the label. Leah started working on the salad at 2:10 p.m. If your answers that you did on your own do not match what I've got here, it is extremely important in how you learn to go and ask your teacher or an adult to help you look at it and figure out what you did wrong. Fixing your mistakes is the most important part to learning and growing. Finally, at the bottom of page 274, you have your check for understanding. And this is an explanation, which means you are not showing me a math problem. You're not showing me a number line. You are using words to explain. If you are one of my students and you are using Kami, I would even accept a video answer. Explain how you know to jump forward or backward when adding and subtracting on the number line. How do you know? Okay, third grade. I hope this was helpful. You can let me know in the comments if you think that there's anything that I could do better. See you soon.